Cool. You good?
We rolling?
Yep.
We're out here at Heritage Park, Rosewood. We bought about 30 acres of land. We're building a new rosewood factory. Right of our time. That's my Kanye impression. It's really bad. No, welcome to the first episode of Candid. This is a new interview series we're doing through Rosewood. We'll be interviewing local Kansas City artists in various mediums, movies, music, film, photography, fashion, whatever interests us, you know? This is brought to you by me. I'm the host and producer alongside James Foos, who's behind the camera. Shout out my boy James. He's a new member of Rosewood, so give him a warm welcome. Today's interview is with Ishan Parikh. He's a 20-year-old filmmaker from Kansas City. He just released a short film titled Novelty Ultra. He also has about 3 feature films under his belt, alongside a slew of short films, all of them great. He's a great friend of mine, and we had a really chill chat. You know, it was just nice. It was nice talking to him about his art and his creative process. And I think if the creative process is something that interests you, this is something that you'll probably enjoy. So yeah, here we go.
You know, look at what the Russos did with Captain America. It was cool.
I feel that. That's the best thing about art. And are we filming?
Oh, all right,
that's crazy.
cool.
I thought you knew.
Sorry, we were nerding out.
That was
I was
crazy.
like, all right.
All right, welcome back to the series. Hey, first and foremost, text me back. No. So we were just talking about your creative process and your inspiration for Novelty Ultra, a beautiful film. So what I want to talk about is the visuals. It's a beautiful film visually, of course.
Yeah.
And you shot it with Diego Astorga, correct?
Whom I went through you.
Shout out Diego. Did great work on Schweitzer, Erica, and Mabongo. I wanted to ask about what's your relationship with him like? How do you is it
I think when I wrapped, because Diego and I have worked together more since Novelty Ultra, and I feel like we've established a really good secondhand in terms of like what I'm looking for, and in terms of like how he's able to constantly surprise me, I guess, you know, if that makes sense. Because I feel like collaborations are such a big part of any person's like career graph, I guess, if that makes sense. You know, like you know, when I look at Chris Nolan's collaboration with Hans Zimmer, or you look at his collaboration with his DP Hoyte van Hoytema, and his
you can say his name. That's crazy. I can't say. I can't say his
yeah,
name.
he's a pretty dope guy. He's a pretty strong guy too. You can lift those IMAX cameras. You see like how that person's able to grow with their collaborators around them, you know. And I feel like Diego has done that, not even just for me, but for you too, I'm sure. And I think we've developed a really good relationship. Maybe that'll continue in whatever form, you know, as we go from here. But I think we made some really good, solid pieces together. He shot the next one coming up too, Girl from Paris.
Girl from Paris. That's correct.
And then a secret
is that coming
project
out?
after that. That'll be out next month, August.
Next month.
Yeah.
August 7th or 8th?
9th, August 9th.
9th, I was close.
Second Sunday of August.
Okay.
So
look out for that one.
tune in.
And then, in terms of what was your goal for the visuals of Novelty Ultra? We can also talk influences. I know you said clapping for the wrong
Again,
reasons.
it just all kind of goes back to clapping for the wrong reasons. Just because, like, I feel like one thing with Novelty Ultra, and for those of you that actually understood it properly, I don't mean that in like a mean way.
So that was a little.
For those of you that understood
people
it,
with a brain out
with
there.
with a brain, who got the sort of kind of like under the blanket kind of meaning to it. Another movie that I did also had similar surrealist qualities. So those two movies were pretty much conceived as like surrealist pieces, and that's one thing, especially for Novelty Ultra, that I wanted it to have that authentic feel, but also this like surreal, like out of this world atmosphere. You know, kind of like where we're in a reality that we may know, but it's kind of like, you know, there's almost a heightened sense about it. It goes to those places, I guess. So the visuals were really tied to that, and then the rest of it was really like Diego. I feel like visually this is probably like one of the best things I've ever done. Just because I mean I also upped the quality with terms of like, you know, the camera and stuff like that. You know.
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, the visuals were striking, especially with the ending sequence with Kara's character and the brain sequence.
The brain.
We talk spoilers too.
Yes.
Hopefully you've seen the movie.
The dream was something that I was really specific about, of how heightened I wanted it to feel, you know? Because I feel like that's the one place that the movie goes to that, like, it gets perhaps otherworldly, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, a little fantastical. And so, for me, it was like how to, like, walk the line of, like, reality, but also push into that kind of
Those
surreal.
shades and
Yeah,
colors.
those shades, yeah.
I feel that. It's beautiful. I've been friends with you for a while. And we went to high school together, of course.
Yes.
And I remember...
Which
obviously,
we did
like,
not know each other properly in high school, right?
That's the thing, yeah, because it's just like, we're just like the two filmmakers in high school. It's like everyone,
Yeah.
that's all we know about each other.
Yeah.
And I remember you dropped Kickback, and I was like, 30-minute short film, that's crazy, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that you had a certain artistic sensibility that I really connected with. That's the thing. Like that was my favorite project of yours at the time, by far.
Yeah.
And that obviously is Novelty Ultra is a continuation of that film, correct?
In
terms of
yes,
styles.
we can confirm that.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. Spoilers, but I guess now it's been out. You should have seen it. By now. Yeah, no, Kickback was it's up there for me. It's one of my favorites because it's so ingrained in like where I was with my life at that point. You know that a lot of things in that movie are kind of they're really tied into the space that my head was at that kind of last summer before college. So yeah, no, it was definitely up there. It was cool to just kind of shift direction, if that makes sense.
I feel that. Because it does feel very different from your feature films at the time, Deranged and...
Yeah.
I think
And that's something like, and you know me by now, it's like I constantly like, I don't ever want to make a right turn, right? I only want to make left turns now. I feel like I'm in that kind of vibe now. You know, I just kind of I want to make as many different colors on the palette as I can, you know.
I feel that.
Like just cleanse. I'll always keep cleansing the palette
Absolutely.
and
that's-
making fresh stuff. I feel like.
I think the best artists do that too.
Yeah.
They don't limit themselves. Like, I mean, my inspiration. I mean, our biggest connection is our love of Paul Thomas Anderson. He
Yeah.
obviously does that.
Who's a huge influence on both of us. And yeah, that's a great career model to look at and go like, that's cool. Like, you know, he's
never made the same film twice.
he's
which is
never
crazy.
really, and like I feel like that's how he's still like his filmography stays alive, you know. And it's great that way. I feel like.
It's crazy how he's able to switch all those different visions. That's a wasp. Hey, hey, I'm good. I'm real good. I don't fuck with wasps. That's my one thing I don't fuck with. What's it doing?
It's probably just gonna crawl back inside there.
No, it's just flying around the tractor.
All right, we'll do a cut.
Yeah, let's do a
That's
cut.
pretty
Yeah.
funny. All right.
Is this chest up, by the way? This recording?
It's a whole shot.
It's a whole shot. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's like a wide.
Fucking Christ, what is that?
that was a fly.
Obviously, Novelty Ultra, as an artist, I feel like we're kind of the same way. We don't want to give away the themes or the ideas of the project. We want people to get their own interpretation and take away what they want to or are able to take from it. Is there anything thematically you'd like to discuss in terms of Novelty Ultra?
Not really, because I feel like I wanted to make something where it's like every time you watch it, you get something new from it, you know? And I hopefully like that's if people watch it again and again, hopefully like they get that kind of sense. I tend to not watch my stuff after it's out there, you know, but that's one thing with both Kickback and I think since Kickback, like that's kind of what it's evolved into is a lot of like I really like the idea of ambiguity. You know, one of my favorite story like writers, creative minds is Damon Lindelof, who created Watchmen or did the TV version of Watchmen and Lost. Huge influence on me, and he deals with a lot of ambiguity in his work. And I think I was really drawn to that kind of stuff, you know, with in terms of like what he did with Leftovers and Watchmen and stuff like that. So I would say ambiguity is definitely a big part of like what I try to do as a storyteller. But obviously, you know, Novelty Ultra is about it's formidably like a commentary on the creative process first and foremost. But I'm sure there's a lot of things on the spectrum you can take from it.
I feel that. One scene I really liked is like, because I just love scenes where it's like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
Is the knife scene where the kid's just like fucking, you know, what Thomas, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Where he's just playing with the knife, and Josh says, he's gonna be like that. Is he gonna go like that all day? And fucking Rodney says, I don't know. I don't know. To me, like, this is a stretch, but that felt almost like a metaphor for like artists, like just doing just. You look fucking insane being obsessive with the process.
No, that's a great takeaway from it. Because I feel like part of the fun of making something, and I guess us as like, you know, filmmakers, is like it makes sense in your head for some weird reason, but like if it's on paper and somebody else reads it and they haven't been living with the whole thing for X amount of time, it's fun to see people's reactions, you know.
Absolutely.
It's kind of provocative in a way, because it makes no sense, and that's something that I loved about Clapping for the Wrong Reasons, is things were just in that short film for God knows what, you know. Nobody really knew. So I would say that's a really apt metaphor for like people that make stuff, and it's kind of like it's there to be there, you know. And it just ties back to the idea of like in your head. I don't know. I guess in my head when I was thinking of like what would be cool. So yeah.
There are a lot of flies here. Sorry, I keep reacting to it.
It's pretty bad.
That's beautiful.
They want to be in this interview.
That's beautiful. Sorry, my sister just ordered something on Amazon. But yeah, that's beautiful. I love that you're willing to like to make your work ambiguous, because I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning of their careers, will try to give too much to their audience.
Well, I mean, a lot of things I like about art is it's interpretational. You know, I can look at a painting and have a different takeaway from it than what you know what I mean. Like it's everybody sees situations differently. Everybody sees things differently. So
that's the beautiful thing about art too. You get to. It almost brings out your individuality, both as the artist and the audience. Yeah. Beautiful. Is there anything else you want to discuss? How'd you go about working with Josh on this one? Because you guys have worked on several projects, but how was it? Is anything different?
This was our second thing that we did together. Josh is a great actor. I see like, I don't know, like you talk about growth, and I really just think of Josh when I see growth. And he's so dedicated and so willing to the, you know, just the process of I guess we call it the grind, you know. It's a terrible term. I don't like it. But I guess, just the whole process. He's just so willing, and like there's something like about Josh is like, it's when I'm working with him, it's this idea of like he's so present, and he as an actor, like he brings so much to it that you know, and those are the best kinds of actors that bring something completely different than what you had imagined, and yet it works. You know, it clicks. So, and even the stuff that we've done since then, it's been really fun to see him kind of grow and change and make certain choices and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully we'll be doing it for a long time coming.
I wish the best. You guys are a great collaborative team.
Yeah.
It's like fucking almost like De Niro and Scorsese.
See, and that's what I like in it too. He thinks it's more Owen Wilson, Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I think it's more De Niro and Scorsese though.
That's interesting. That's a good point. Yeah, because also Owen like co-wrote a lot of those. That's the crazy thing. Owen co-wrote all of the first 3 movies.
He did, yeah.
That's a deep collaboration.
But again, like what I said, it's about like.
I think Josh is trying to tell you, let him write a movie with you. That's like.
I think so too. I think he really wants to. Yeah, we'll see.
You were
I
saying?
got a lot of time coming up.
You were saying though?
No, it just goes back to what I believe about like being a part of each other's journey, and hopefully, like, if we are ever lucky to be doing this for a living in, you know, T minus how many years, people can look back on this, or we can look back on it and say, like, man, that was a really fun time, you know, like the movies that we made together in this amount of time, and seeing like where you were then to where you are now and stuff like that, you know, seeing the progression and stuff.
I feel that. That's a beautiful thing about movies too. Like you saw the tweet, but to me, movies almost feel like a time capsule, of course, and it brings you back to like I watch like Dick Tracy or like Please Date Me, and it brings me back to who I was in high school. And
I do feel that too. It jumps you back to where. It jumps you back to where you were in that point of life. For me, like, I can only ever make a movie based on, or I can only ever make anything, write anything based on where I am in my life at that. Even if I'm not doing it intentionally, it just pours into it, no matter if you want it to or not. It's just very reflective. And to me, that's so cool, you know, because you can see how we change throughout that. And it's really fun to see that, because I can look back on the stuff I made in high school and being like, man, I could have only ever made that in high school. If I tried to go back and make it, it wouldn't be the same movie over again. It wouldn't have the same aura, or, you know, it wouldn't have the same, the same flavor
entirely.
Yeah, because, you know, I've changed. I've learned a lot of stuff since I was 15, 16, making my first movie. So yeah,
I feel that. Are we good on volume? Okay, just making sure. How would you say, when did you make Novelty Ultra? When were you filming it and editing it?
So we started shooting, it was a very long shoot. We started in July of last year, so almost a year ago, and didn't finish till like September. Yeah, September.
How would, if you made, and this is kind of a funny question because you kind of did, but if you did make this movie again this year, how do you feel it would be different? Like, how would 2020 Ishan make a different Novelty Ultra compared to 2019 Ishan?
I mean, it's kind of hard to answer that, because I feel like I've lived with the movie like for the year that it's, even though I'd finished it earlier in the year. It still kind of hadn't left my brain, you know. But I would say, like, I mean, I can't really say for sure because, like, I'm not actually, like, making it. But I feel like some choices would be different, you know. You always look back on something and be like, oh, man, I could have done that differently. I couldn't. But I think altogether, like, obviously people change, you know, and even a year is a lot of time.
A lot can happen.
Yeah, a lot
this
can happen.
year.
Yeah, you changed your hair.
Yeah.
A lot happens.
Blonde Njenga, bro. New era.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe it would have some different actors. I've met a lot of actors since that. And so, yeah, I mean, you never know.
That's fair. That's fair. It's kind of an open-ended question. Is there anything else you want to discuss?
Not really. I mean, I guess.
How much time do we have?
Oh, you asked about my best work.
About 16 minutes.
16? Okay. What's your personal favorite film so far?
I think it's a toss-up between this or Girl from Paris coming up.
I feel that.
It used to be Aimless for a long time. For me, like, I judge something like of how much, like, I love it to where if it's like, if I retain so much of the original plan of what I came up with, then for me it's a victory. You know, like, for me, making Aimless was so rewarding because it was like, I had already made a movie before, so I was able to take what I learned from that, apply it to the second one, and try to make it as better as I could. And a lot of what I originally wanted to do and say with that movie, I did. And I feel like same goes for Novelty Ultra. In fact, I was just looking through the script for Novelty about a few weeks ago, and it's exactly 29 pages, which is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I read the script, Novelty Ultra. He sent it to me before he made it, and it was inspiring and exhilarating because it's a beautiful script. It's a beautiful fucking idea. I already saw Kickback, so I know, like, the sensibilities relatively of what he was going for. And I just had to say that real quick. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Thank you. No, I
geek out real
appreciate
quick.
that. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, and same thing with Girl from Paris. I feel like this or Girl from Paris is probably, like, they're up there.
I feel it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
My personal picks are Novelty Ultra and Con Split. You should watch Con Split, a great film. And then Girl from Paris will be coming out August.
The Con Split was a lot of fun too. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was just one of those projects that just came together so quickly. You know, I wrote it in a few weeks and like asked Noah to be in it, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And we before I knew it, we had made it. So yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely, it's a great film, and the black and white version was great too.
Yeah, it is. It looks really good in black and white. Yeah,
I think it's underrated because people like. People like have the.
That's just our personal like sensibilities. Yeah. We love French New Wave movies.
Shout out Godard.
Godard.
And she died. Sorry, I started thinking about Agnes for some reason.
And what's the other guy? Truffaut.
Truffaut's so good. They're all dead. That's sad. That's really sad. Damn. Anyway.
Wait, is Godard dead?
Yeah. Oh no, he's alive.
He's alive. He's alive. We almost killed off Godard in this review.
Hey, I'm sorry, bro. If you see this, I'm sorry. I fucked with Goodbye to Language. That was cool. No. Anything else you want to discuss, film-wise?
No, I mean
Life-wise.
Yeah, my sister and her I'm just kidding. I know. I feel like this year it's been rewarding just because we're in a time right now where it's like impossible to do a lot of things and just out of legit fear getting sick or dying. But I feel it's been so rewarding to drop these movies. There's still one coming up, and then something else in December that we've been working on.
Do you want to discuss that, or you want to keep that?
Yeah,
separate?
it's a web series. It's called Eddie Taylor. I've got something. So it's kind of inspired by like Master of None and The Office and stuff like that. So I love mockumentaries. So
those are very disparate influences. Do you want to expand on that, or you just want to leave it there?
Well, I mean, I love Master of None. I just love the whole look and feel of that show. I love how authentic and fresh it is, and The Office is just like it's one of the best comedies. It's a classic. And I just love mockumentaries. I just think that kind of humor is probably where I'm not good at comedy. I don't think I'm that great at comedy. But mockumentaries are. I feel like if I were to do a comedy, like those are kind of the ones that fit my skills the best.
Also, another thing about Master of None, I think we've discussed it before about in terms of Eddie Taylor, but it's the almost like the short film structure he has for that series, especially the second season. That was a big influence, correct? Yeah,
the second season of Master of None is like one of my favorites of any season of TV ever. I think it's just so beautifully done in terms of like, it really does not care. It does not care. It's only true to its characters, and that's what I love about it. Which is something that we've talked about is always take care of your characters. Always approach your characters first. So that's kind of how I always tell stories. So Master of None and and also like I just a genuine love to work with Rodney again.
Shout out Rodney.
And that's another collaboration of mine that I've loved so much since Novelty Ultra, because that was the first big thing he was in for me. Ego he was in for a little bit. And we've had so much fun. We've gotten to know each other so well. So I feel like Eddie Taylor is just a really good shorthand between us in terms of like what we want to do. It's also inspired a lot by him as a person too. Yeah,
he's a character. I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Also, shout out I want to keep on topic, but I also want to reference the Master of None opening episode for the second season. It's Master of None, a popular like Netflix series, right? And they reference fucking Italian neo-realistic fucking film.
Yes.
With the first two episodes.
And also it takes place in Italy.
In Italy,
so
too.
Cool. And also the penultimate episode of season 2.
Which
Marcy and Poe, where the girl comes to visit him, there's that, and then the episode afterwards, that beautiful dance number. That was a huge inspiration for Novelty Ultra. That dance number between the girl and Aziz Ansari at the very last episode of season 2 with that red and blue lighting, and it kind of fit the kind of vibe that I wanted for the in terms of the hues I wanted for that scene.
I feel that. That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful sequence. You should check it out again.
I gotta rewatch that second season. I think that's a wrap. Thank you for
it. All right. Thank you so much.
Do you want to say anything else, or maybe?
No, I mean, I'm just like it's been such a rewarding year. These 5 short films we've worked really hard on. Some you've been a part of, off camera, on camera, and I'm really looking forward to like what next year will bring. Not sure what it is going to be yet, but we'll be working. for sure. So
The grind never stops.
the grind never stops. But no, I'm excited. 2021 should be cool. Should be different.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what you make, man.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I get a ride home, by the way?
Maybe if you're, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay.
The lawyers will figure it out. Yeah.
That was fun. You feel good about that?
Yeah, I like it.
You feel good, James? Yeah. Man. Does it come off like I'm anxious when I ask that? Because I just want other people's thoughts. Because now I'm thinking about the Rodney bit.
No, I literally told him to make fun of you though.
Oh, okay. I just thought that's funny.
Because he was like, well, what does something Ryan do? I was like, Ryan always asks you the classic, how did you feel about that?
How'd you feel about that? Want to try it different?
So he was like, okay.
That shit's
Well, he's not
funny.
used to it because I'm like very 2-3 takes and we're done. We're out of here. But you know,
I feel it. That's funny. Can you get just a picture on like my phone of us? Yeah. Like behind, get the camera.
can we
in
take a
frame, too?
picture by the water? I want to do a photo shoot with Ryan.
Bet.
I want to
Well-
make his Instagram. So bad.
You make the Rosewood one. You've been on it twice. 3 times.
I what?
Or landscape.
It's up to you. You're the photographer. Okay, you're my second post ever because I like redid my whole Instagram.
Brian, I haven't stalked your Instagram. I'm just saying, I like to give you crap about it.
That makes me feel like a dick now that I'm like, I know my Instagram that well. You're my second pick, my third pick. No. That's funny.
When I say that, I'm joking. I mean, you can put it on your Instagram. I mean, I've been on your Twitter all the time.
It'll be on the Rosewood Instagram for sure. Because we're gonna put like the photo
But
shoot
nobody
there.
follows that. I want all the likes, bro.
We're trying to get the followers. Thank you, sir.
You have Instagram?
Yeah.
I want to follow all your pictures, bro.
I'll send it to you. Hold up, real quick. Nah, James is dope. I told you he's gonna be a part of Rosewood, right?
Yeah. So you like being a DP? That's cool.
He hasn't done it.
Oh, you haven't done it?
What's DP?
Director of
Consider-
photography.
Oh.
He just likes doing it all. He's really into
I
music.
just like to create. Anything.
That's awesome. That's
Anything I
awesome.
can.
I like that.
I do music, I do photography, and then Brian's pretty much gotten me into